Nobody saw this coming. Not after everything that had already been exposed. Not after the viral clips, the heated debates online, and the chaos that seemed to consume everything for a brief, fleeting moment. And yet, here we are, facing a development that could very well shift the entire landscape of this situation. Because according to multiple insiders, this isn't just another ripple in a story that's already gone viral. This is something unprecedented, something unexpected, something that could redefine everything. King Harris didn't sit back quietly this time. He didn't stay silent, hoping the storm would pass or that the public would forget. No, this time something different happened. Something that insiders describe in stark terms: desperation. King Harris, by all accounts, reached out directly, and not in anger, not in defiance, not to stir the pot. He reached out in desperation. And in this context, desperation is not just a word. It's a lens through which the magnitude of this situation becomes clear. Sources claim that behind the scenes, King Harris made a move that nobody anticipated. He allegedly contacted 50 Cent personally, pleading with him to halt the rollout of the documentary before it spiraled beyond control, to prevent it from reaching a point of no return. And when insiders say point of no return, they mean exactly that. Whatever footage remains unreleased, whatever is still hidden from the public eye, insiders suggest it's far more explosive than anything we've already witnessed. The viral clips, the moments that shook the internet, that prompted debates about T's parenting, his family, and the dynamics within their household, were just the surface, the tip of a far larger, far more volatile iceberg. And the fact that King Harris allegedly felt compelled to intervene tells us something essential. What's coming next could change everything we thought we knew. Think about what we've already seen. Clips that divided fans, footage that incited outrage, moments that sparked sympathy, debates over loyalty, decisions, and actions. Every viral segment added a layer of tension. And yet, despite all that exposure, King Harris reportedly felt the need to step in, to act, to try to contain the damage before it escalated beyond repair. That's not casual. That's not something anyone does unless the stakes are life-altering. Sources describe the messages he sent as emotionally charged, urgent, and unmistakably desperate. This wasn't a simple "can we slow down?" or a polite request. This was someone standing on the edge of a precipice, feeling the walls closing in, attempting to prevent collapse. And that's precisely what's making people across the industry, as well as the public, uneasy. Because while King Harris allegedly attempts to contain the situation, 50 Cent hasn't slowed down. If anything, insiders say he is moving with even more precision, more intent, more momentum, more clips, more hints, more pressure. And that is what transforms a story from mere drama into something far more serious. The key question becomes, what did King Harris see in these unreleased scenes that compelled him to react this way? According to insiders, it's not just about personal embarrassment or fleeting discomfort. It's about control. About the fear that private moments, private interactions, and deeply personal family dynamics could be dissected and displayed in ways that might irrevocably alter public perception. King Harris isn't merely a peripheral figure in this story. He's a young man who's lived almost his entire life in the public eye. Every choice, every misstep, every victory and defeat has been documented, dissected, and judged by the public. Social media, television appearances, interviews, and public events have all contributed to a constant narrative surrounding him. The transition from being T's son to carving out his own identity has not been smooth, and in many ways, it has been fraught with public scrutiny. Every attempt he's made to define himself, to establish his voice and independence, has come under the microscope. Fans, critics, and even family expectations have weighed heavily on him. Growing up in the shadow of someone like T, a man whose reputation is built on control, influence, and authority, creates a pressure that's almost unimaginable. King Harris didn't always follow that path. He expressed himself freely, reacted emotionally, and often found himself at odds with the structures around him. Many of those moments went viral, sometimes for reasons far removed from his intentions. Clips of conflicts, disagreements, and confrontations circulated widely, reinforcing the narrative of a young man pushing against the system that enveloped him. And each viral moment escalated the scrutiny. Judgments were passed, opinions formed, public commentary intensified. Every clip, every leaked moment served as a reminder. Nothing remained private. And now, with this documentary surfacing, the stakes have multiplied exponentially. It isn't just public perception anymore, it's exposure. Real, potentially irreversible exposure. According to insiders, what we've already seen is just a fragment. Edited clips pulled from a much larger, more revealing narrative. A story far more intricate, far more impactful than the public realizes. Imagine being in King Harris's position, knowing private content exists, content that could dramatically influence how the world perceives you, your father, your family, and your life, content that you have no control over. That's not just stressful, that's terrifying. Few could handle that level of scrutiny, let alone someone still defining their path under constant public observation. And that's why the alleged message to 50 Cent is so significant. It's not about creating drama or public spectacle. It's an attempt to contain a situation before it becomes uncontainable, to prevent irreversible consequences. The existence of that plea, insiders insist, speaks volumes about the seriousness of what's unfolding. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's role in this saga cannot be understated. His approach isn't impulsive. He doesn't release content haphazardly. Every action is strategic. Timing, placement, and sequencing matter immensely. When the documentary began to surface, it coincided with a moment when the spotlight on T and his family had intensified. Discussions were already underway across social media. Conversations, speculation, and debates were happening organically, and then this content drops. Coincidence? Not likely. It's clear that a deliberate strategy is at play. 50 Cent is an expert in narrative control, momentum, and audience engagement. He releases content in pieces, controlling the flow, guiding the conversation, and keeping the public hooked. And if the rumors are true, this documentary is more than a collection of clips. It's a meticulously structured presentation of private, sensitive moments, some possibly never intended for public consumption. Some recordings may come from older projects or archives, captured under entirely different circumstances and for different purposes. If that's the case, the stakes are even higher. It's not just what's shown, it's how it was acquired, why it's being released now, and the ethical questions surrounding it. That's why industry reactions are divided. Some see it as revelation, exposing the truth. Others view it as an overstep, an invasion of privacy that crosses ethical lines. King Harris's response, reportedly desperate rather than aggressive, reflects a human side often overlooked in the spectacle of viral content. He isn't merely protecting his image, he's trying to safeguard his family, contain potential fallout, and prevent damage that could be permanent. Viral clips can stir controversy, but a full-scale, carefully edited documentary carries consequences far beyond initial reactions. Careers, reputations, relationships, all are at risk. And it's not just immediate consequences that are concerning. Long-term ramifications loom as well. This is not a single moment of embarrassment or controversy. This is a narrative being constructed in real time, one that could define public perception of King Harris, T, and their family for years to come. It's a living story, influenced by every reaction, every engagement, every decision made in the spotlight. In this environment, every choice carries weight. King Harris's alleged attempt to intervene is about regaining control in a situation where he has very little. Knowing that content exists, footage that could be interpreted in unpredictable ways, is psychologically exhausting. For someone like him, who has grown up under public scrutiny, that pressure is amplified. And 50 Cent's methodical release strategy compounds the tension. He's not posting randomly. Every clip, every hint, every tease is a calculated move, a strategic chess game in which attention, narrative, and influence are constantly measured. The combination of exposure, strategy, and human vulnerability is what makes this story so captivating. It's not just drama. It's about navigating power, vulnerability, and perception. It's about a young man attempting to assert his identity while under immense pressure, and about another individual orchestrating the narrative with precision. Their actions ripple far beyond themselves, impacting fans, critics, and the broader cultural conversation. It also illustrates the fragility of control in the modern media landscape. Information moves faster than ever, reputations are shaped overnight, and privacy is more elusive than it has ever been. 50 Cent's expertise magnifies this effect. Every release is a move in a high-stakes game where perception equals power. King Harris's alleged plea highlights the human cost, the very real stress of trying to navigate life when your private experiences are at risk of becoming public property. As this scenario unfolds, questions remain. What is in those unreleased scenes? How far will 50 Cent go with the rollout? Can anyone contain it before a tipping point is reached? How will this affect the family dynamics, already strained by public exposure? One thing is clear. This isn't just another entertainment story. It isn't a fleeting moment of viral attention. This is high-stakes, real-world drama where every move counts. King Harris's alleged intervention, 50 Cent's strategic control, and the anticipation of what's yet to come make this situation unprecedented and unpredictable. The footage already released has shocked, outraged, and captivated audiences. But the real story, the full scope, may still be just out of view. King Harris's desperation signals that what's coming could redefine everything: public perception, family dynamics, and personal legacies. This is why people are paying attention, because it's about far more than drama. It's about exposure, vulnerability, strategy, control, and the delicate interplay of private life and public scrutiny. King Harris's alleged plea is a rare glimpse into the human stakes, showing that behind the viral moments are real emotions and real consequences. And that's why this story is so intense. The intersection of transparency and secrecy, exposure and concealment, action and reaction, all of it creates a narrative that feels immediate, intense, and impossible to ignore. It's a story of influence, power, and human emotion, demonstrating just how high the stakes can be when private lives are pushed into the public eye. As days, weeks, and months pass, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. The narrative is still unfolding, the consequences are still emerging, and the full scope of what's coming has yet to be revealed. If insiders are correct, King Harris's desperation is a warning, a signal that what's next could change the landscape of public perception and the very trajectory of a family's narrative. This is not just another pop culture moment. It's a turning point, a pivotal moment in a story where every decision matters, every move has weight, and every release could redefine the course of lives under public scrutiny. And the world is watching, waiting, anticipating what comes next. Everything we thought we knew about the story, the family, and the legacy that hangs in the balance is suddenly in question. Nobody expected this to happen, not after everything that had already been exposed, not after the viral clips that dominated social media, the reactions that flooded comment sections, and the chaos that seemed to shake the entire internet. Fans were divided, critics were speculating, and the industry was buzzing with conversation and conjecture. And yet, here we are, facing a development that could shift everything. According to multiple insiders, King Harris didn't just sit back this time. He didn't stay silent, hoping the storm would pass. No, this time something entirely different happened, something unprecedented. Sources claim that King Harris reached out directly, and not in anger, not in defiance, not to create drama or generate attention. He reached out in desperation. Yes, desperation. That is the word that keeps coming up from those close to the situation, and it is not being used lightly. Allegedly, King Harris contacted 50 Cent personally, pleading with him to halt the rollout of the documentary before it spiraled beyond control, before it reached what insiders call the point of no return. And when they say point of no return, they mean exactly that. The content that remains unreleased is reportedly far more intense, far more revealing, and potentially far more damaging than anything already shared. Think about it. The clips that went viral, the moments that dominated the conversation online, were only the surface. They were fragments of a much larger story, pieces of a puzzle that insiders insist is explosive and far-reaching. The fact that King Harris allegedly stepped in, trying to stop the release, is a clear signal. What hasn't been shared yet could completely redefine everything we thought we knew. Let's pause and look at what has already been released. Clips that sparked debates, moments that divided fans and critics alike, content that prompted conversations about T's parenting, his household dynamics, and the internal workings of the family. Some clips drew sympathy, others outrage. Questions about decisions, motivations, and loyalties were rampant. And yet, despite the chaos, King Harris reportedly felt compelled to intervene, to act behind the scenes, to try to contain what had already begun to spiral. That's not casual. That's not the behavior of someone lightly concerned. That's desperation intersecting with responsibility. Sources describe the alleged messages as urgent, emotionally charged, and tense. This wasn't a simple, "Can we slow this down?" type of communication. This wasn't someone attempting to mediate in a calm, detached way. This was a young man standing at the edge, acutely aware of the potential fallout and trying to prevent an irreversible situation. The tension in this scenario, according to insiders, is palpable. It's a reminder of just how high the stakes have become. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's response, or more accurately, his lack of visible response, added another layer of intensity. Sources claim he did not slow down, did not hesitate, and did not react with apparent concern. He remained calculated, deliberate, and in full control. And that dynamic, one side desperate to contain, the other focused on deliberate progression, turned a volatile situation into something explosive. Now imagine what that must feel like for King Harris. Every clip, every reaction video, every tweet, every comment section, it's all about him. It's all about his life, his family, and his image. And he has no control over it, no agency. He can't steer the narrative. He's caught between the momentum of someone like 50 Cent, who controls the release, and the reality of his own life, which is being played out publicly for millions to consume. That's a position few could endure without pressure mounting to unbearable levels. Viewed through that lens, King Harris's alleged intervention stops seeming dramatic or excessive. It becomes understandable, because at a certain point, this stops being entertainment. It stops being social media clips or viral content. It starts having real consequences, consequences for family, for reputation, and for the trajectory of careers. This is where the situation now teeters, on the edge between exposure and damage, between narrative control and uncontrollable consequences. And the most unsettling aspect, we still don't know what's coming next. If the clips that have already circulated caused this much upheaval, what remains in the unreleased documentary could be exponentially more impactful. The very fact that King Harris allegedly reached out to stop it suggests that whatever is coming might be far bigger, far more revealing, and far more consequential than anything previously witnessed. 50 Cent's reaction, however, reportedly defied expectation. He didn't hesitate. He didn't pause. He maintained calm, deliberate control, which, in turn, intensified the tension. One side desperately tries to mitigate damage, while the other methodically drives the narrative forward. That collision, the attempt to contain versus the push to release, is the reason the story became explosive at this moment. Then, just when the narrative seemed to have settled into a pattern, a new clip emerged. This one allegedly shows King Harris in a context never seen before. Public perception shifted immediately. Debate became discomfort. Speculation became concern. The timing, right after the alleged intervention, suggested intentionality, sparking widespread discussion. And now the conversation has evolved from mere entertainment to ethical questioning. Should this content be public? Is this an exploitation of private life? public discussion intensified, while industry players close to T reportedly debated potential responses, weighing actions carefully. The stakes are no longer about content alone. They are about family, reputation, legacy, and the boundaries of what should ever be shown. This is a turning point. Every move matters, every release matters, and every decision has consequences. King Harris's alleged plea is a window into the human stakes behind the headlines, a reminder that behind viral clips are real people dealing with immense pressure, real emotion, and the weight of a legacy that is both public and deeply personal. And the story isn't over, not by a long shot. New content may be released, and each release will continue to redefine perception, influence discussion, and reshape public understanding. The narrative remains in flux, teetering between exposure and control, between private life and public scrutiny. This is not just another pop culture moment. It is a high-stakes, real-world drama where every move has consequence, every interaction matters, and the fallout may last far beyond the initial release. The tension between desperation and control, between exposure and privacy, between personal identity and public perception, defines this moment. And the world is watching, waiting, anticipating the next move. For King Harris, the stakes could not be higher. A young man thrust into the glare of public scrutiny now finds his private life being consumed as content in real time by millions of people. Every moment of his existence, the decisions he's made, the relationships he's navigated, the vulnerabilities he's tried to protect, has suddenly become material for public consumption. And that pressure is not just theoretical, it's tangible, it's visible. It's reflected in the intense online conversation, where debates about ethics, privacy, and the limits of exposure dominate discussions. The situation has crossed a line from entertainment to personal crisis, from casual commentary to serious questioning of morality. And that tension, truth versus exploitation, is exactly what makes this story so critical. King Harris is caught in a scenario where every decision matters. Every action, every statement, or silence carries weight. And that is what makes his alleged intervention so significant. Sources claim he reached out directly, not in defiance or anger, but in desperation. Desperation to stop a situation before it became unmanageable, before the release of further content could inflict irreparable damage. The narrative has already proven capable of fracturing public opinion and dividing fans, and yet the unseen material reportedly holds the potential to be even more explosive. This is the reality of someone facing the immense consequences of exposure in a world where privacy is increasingly elusive. At the same time, the role of 50 Cent cannot be underestimated. His strategy, insiders say, is precise, calculated, and deliberate, a masterclass in narrative control. Timing, positioning, and pacing are not accidental. They are meticulously planned to maximize engagement while maintaining ultimate control over the story. Every clip that surfaces, every delay or release, every edit, all of it is part of a larger strategy. And as new content emerges, tension escalates and public discourse intensifies, it becomes increasingly clear that every move is intentional, almost surgical in its execution. This is no longer a mere documentary release. This is a high-stakes game, one that intertwines reputation, perception, influence, and consequence. King Harris's alleged outreach underscores the emotional and strategic pressures at play. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's deliberate rollout highlights the calculated nature of influence in the modern media landscape. The public, meanwhile, becomes a participant, a witness to a story unfolding in real time, a story with stakes far beyond the reach of any viral clip or trending hashtag. The unfolding narrative is more than drama. It is about exposure, strategy, vulnerability, and control. It is about the collision of private life with public consumption, the ethical dilemmas of what should be shown versus what draws attention, and the reality of a young man navigating pressures few could imagine, let alone endure. Every action, every response, or lack thereof, carries consequences. Every clip, every comment, every rumor shapes the story as it develops, and the narrative remains far from complete. As the story continues to unfold, it becomes evident that the situation is far more complex than it appears on the surface. What began as a series of documentary clips, sparking conversation and speculation, has evolved into a tangled web of tension, high-stakes decision-making, and uncertainty. Insiders report that the stakes are no longer simply about content. They are about control, consequence, and the very real impact on the lives of those involved. One of the most fascinating aspects of this phase has been the scrutiny of timelines and narrative structure. Analysts, commentators, and fans are dissecting every edit, every sequence, every jump cut, in an attempt to determine what is real, what is missing, and what might have been intentionally omitted. Every clip is analyzed, replayed, and discussed, frame by frame, as viewers attempt to reconstruct the story. People are comparing versions, noting inconsistencies, and speculating about what has been withheld to influence perception. In short, the audience has become an active participant in the deconstruction of the narrative. Some of these breakdowns have gone viral. Millions of viewers pause, rewind, and comment, theorizing and debating what might be hidden between the frames. This clip cuts off right before something crucial, one video warns. They're only showing one side. Another comment reads, "This doesn't feel complete." The narrative, already complex, has become layered, raising questions about context, intent, and the truth behind the story. What was once entertainment is now a study in narrative control and audience manipulation. Amidst this frenzy, one element has remained constant: silence. T has made no public statements. King Harris has refrained from commenting. 50 Cent has issued no clarifications. The longer the silence persists, the more it amplifies tension. Online, viewers demand answers. Comments across social media plead for clarity. Say something, clear this up, they insist. And yet no one speaks. Silence in a situation like this is itself a signal. It suggests that there is more happening behind the scenes than meets the eye. According to sources, decisions are being made privately, strategies are being considered quietly, and exchanges between key players are happening out of public view. Every unseen interaction carries the potential to dramatically reshape perception once it becomes public. The absence of a statement is not empty. It is charged, magnifying tension and uncertainty. Then, just when the story seemed impossible to complicate further, high-profile voices began to weigh in. Not fans, not casual observers, but individuals who rarely comment on situations like this. Cryptic posts, subtle hints, and indirect references suggested that this saga was far from over. One viral comment encapsulated the mood. "This isn't just drama. This can have real consequences." That word, consequences, changed the narrative. It was no longer merely speculation or entertainment. It was now understood as a situation with tangible effects on real lives. Questions began to swirl. Would T respond publicly? Would King Harris break his silence? Would 50 Cent maintain his calculated approach or pivot in response to mounting pressure? No one could say. That uncertainty, insiders suggest, is a key reason the situation remains so compelling. It is unpredictable, immediate, and carries real emotional stakes. Late one night, a new development sent shockwaves through online communities. A leaked screenshot. Not a clip, not a video, but a single static image. Reportedly, the screenshot captured a private exchange, allegedly tied to King Harris's attempt to prevent further fallout. Once it surfaced, it went viral immediately, with people dissecting every detail, speculating on its authenticity, and analyzing what it might reveal. It is crucial to note that the authenticity of the screenshot remains unverified. Whether real, manipulated, or fabricated, it doesn't diminish its impact. In scenarios like this, perception is nearly as powerful as reality. The screenshot reportedly contained a message believed to be from King Harris. "This isn't just content to me. This is my real life." If more of this comes out, it's going to mess up everything around me. Regardless of its verification, the sentiment captured resonated deeply. It highlighted frustration, fear, and urgency, human emotions that transformed the narrative from entertainment to a study in real-world consequences. The implications were immediate. The conversation shifted from analysis of clips to consideration of emotional toll, public exposure, and vulnerability. If even partially authentic, the message revealed the high stakes for someone trapped in the intersection of personal life and public content. For the public, it reframed the discussion from entertainment to ethics, from speculation to empathy. There's a delicate line here, and everyone has a different perspective on where it lies. Some argue that if the content is real, it deserves to be seen. Transparency matters. Others insist that this is someone's private life, not material for public consumption, and that continuing to release it crosses an ethical line. And right now, nobody has a consensus. The conversation is split, the stakes are high, and every new development is scrutinized in real time. For those watching closely, this moment is particularly compelling. The split in public opinion is stark. On one side, people defend exposure in the name of truth and transparency. On the other, people push back against what they see as exploitation, a violation of privacy, and an unnecessary invasion of personal life. That division creates a charged environment, one where each action by any of the parties involved has amplified consequences. Every clip, every screenshot, every statement, or lack thereof, is dissected, debated, and replayed endlessly. And while the public watches, the tension behind the scenes is reportedly intensifying. People close to T are frustrated, angry, and some may even be considering intervention. Family, reputation, and legacy are now directly involved. King Harris, a young man under immense pressure, is caught in the middle. His life, his experiences, his privacy are all being weighed, analyzed, and transformed into content. That is a tremendous burden, and it's being felt by everyone observing the situation unfold. The story isn't just about viral moments or online reactions anymore. It's about influence, control, and consequence. Every decision, every move is strategic. 50 Cent's role is particularly significant. His approach, deliberate and measured, demonstrates how narrative control can be executed with precision. The timing of releases, the management of public perception, the reaction to insider leaks, all of it is calculated to maximize impact. And as new clips, screenshots, and rumors surface, it becomes clear that this is far more than simple storytelling. It's a masterclass in managing attention, influence, and cultural narrative. For King Harris, the pressure is unimaginable. Every clip released, every online reaction, every debate or speculation affects him directly. Every pause, every cut, every comment online resonates with him personally. And now, with the alleged intervention, the leaked screenshot, and rumors of scheduled future content, the stakes couldn't be higher. The personal has become public, and the private is now a topic of conversation across social platforms. What happens next could fundamentally change everything. Will T finally respond? Will King Harris speak out and reclaim control of his narrative? Will 50 Cent continue his calculated release schedule? Or is there another twist yet to come, something no one has anticipated, that will reshape the entire situation? The unpredictability is part of what makes this so compelling. Every move matters, and every reaction is amplified. And so the situation remains unresolved. The story is unfinished, and the next developments may completely alter the narrative. Whether it's the next clip, the next statement, or the next viral leak, the potential impact is massive. Rumors then emerged that 50 Cent had allegedly seen the screenshot and chosen not to respond. If accurate, this represents a standoff. One side desperate to prevent escalation, the other deliberately maintaining control. The dynamic is combustible. It is the kind of tension that does not dissipate. It grows, feeding speculation and uncertainty. And just when it seemed tension could not heighten further, whispers suggested that the next part of the documentary might already be scheduled. That word alone signals strategy, foresight, and planning. Nothing in the scenario seems random. The clips, the timing, the reactions, they are all part of a larger, carefully orchestrated narrative. And that makes every subsequent development even more gripping, as it suggests what has already been released is only a fraction of what is to come. At this point, the stakes could not be higher. Spectators are no longer passive. They are actively witnessing a story that could pivot dramatically with each new release. Future content has the power to redefine public perception, shift emotional responses, and alter reputations. The unknown, in this case, is a powerful force. What has already caused chaos could pale in comparison to what might emerge next. Every assumption, every prior reaction could be upended. The critical questions remain. Was King Harris genuinely trying to prevent further fallout, or is this yet another layer of narrative design to heighten suspense? Is 50 Cent acting to reveal truth, or is he strategically pushing boundaries to maintain control and engagement? And beyond that, what are the ethical considerations of exposing such personal content to the public? These questions are central to understanding the complex, high-stakes environment in which this story unfolds. In the end, what we are witnessing is far more than content release. It is an intricate interplay of vulnerability, control, strategy, and consequence. King Harris's alleged desperation, 50 Cent's calculated approach, and the public's role as witness all combine to create a story that is immediate, intense, and impossible to ignore. The next chapter could redefine everything we thought we knew, and for those involved, the stakes could not be higher.